Alright, here is the video review for Cyberverse Power of the Spark Elite Class CHEETOR with Sea Fury as his armor. Not Ocean Storm like Bumblebee had. Although it is, the heads are a little bit different, but the basic mold is exactly the same. So here it is, it's the battleship. And you will notice CHEETOR himself has an Autobot logo on his shoulder, while the battleship does in fact have a legit Maximal symbol right there on the front. So yeah, but aside from colors, it's got blue versus red, and the gray plastic's a little brighter. Actually, it looks like some of the accessories might be molded in the same darker plastic as Bumblebee's, whereas Bumblebee's, some of his pieces are this color. Huh, interesting. We'll look at that in a bit. But yeah, it's the basic battleship armor. But the real star here is CHEETOR. And again, he's got a very basic transformation. You can see he's just kind of a hunched over robot. But it kind of works for the aesthetic, for the design they're trying to go for. He's not a bad little cheetah, although he is just a hunched over robot with broken shins. His tail can move up and down, but that's about it for any. Again, you can move his arms at the shoulders here at the hinge. The one drawback to his cheetah mode is that the way his arms transform, they rotate out so the hands are on the outside. So when you fold the fists up, they do a pretty decent job of filling the space, but you do have that open forearm sitting on the outside of his cheetah mode. But all in all, an interesting little cheetah. Got a nice little face. And I do want to, well, actually, we'll wait until we get to robot mode, but there is a little silly thing. And to transform him again, it's the legs are fairly basic. There's a little bit more involvement up here on the top. So the legs just come down. You just straighten his shin out, bring his knee up, straighten his shin out, bring his knee up, flip out his heel pieces. And I like that these are not they support him with the armor on, but they're not egregiously like long supports like some of the other figures have. We just stand him up, bring his hips down, bring his arms down. Now this panel right here, you kind of have to reach up through here to pop this panel loose from the top of his cheetah head. And then you can pull this whole panel back right here. His robot head flips up. The whole upper torso here at this curved piece rotates down to complete the torso. Get his head out of the way there. Fold that down, fold his head up, which again now tabs into where this panel tabbed in and locks into place there. Now if you leave his cheetah head up, this folds in, he's got a big empty chest. You can fold it down so it sticks out a little bit more than it should. Like if you push it right down to there, you still kind of see the gap, but you can have it be a little bit more 3D, like on his old Beast Wars toy. But it's intended to be pushed all the way in. Now there is a spring up here, and it doesn't auto-activate anything. That's just so when you pop this up for his cheetah mode, it just kind of holds the head at more of an angle looking forward. Because I mean, like, the spring is only affecting it from here to here. It just pushes it all the way up and holds it all the way up. Because once you hit right here, that's where you start getting the friction of pushing it around there. Like once you get past that, the friction of the pieces rubbing together holds it in place. And that's kind of where the little tab is you push it past the tab that's there. You can kind of see how one edge of this right here is molded a little thicker, and that gives it friction up here. That's how it can stay out here, like halfway out, but you want to push it all the way in. And there is CHEETOR. Oh, wait, he's not done yet. You got to flip his fists out and rotate his arms around to the bicep. Then he's all the way in robot mode. There we go. There's CHEETOR in robot mode. And I like it. It's integrated. I like that you can still see the details of his cheetah head, although it sits a little flatter than it did in Beast Wars. Now, I will say, this is what I was going to mention. The box art doesn't reflect, because in the cartoon, the animation model in the cartoon looks like he's still got his Beast Wars-esque with the back kibble and the insides of the legs sitting on his back. The box art just is a reflection of the toy, but they made his chest cheetah look really flat and weird. It just made me giggle when I looked at the side of the box. But yeah, here he is. His head can turn side to side. He's got ball joint shoulders. He's got a bicep swivel, no waist swivel, hinge hips in both directions, thigh swivel, hinge knees, and then his toes are molded straight, but you get a little bit of ankle there. And his tail can move up and down. You can have his tail stick straight back. You can have it hang down wherever you want. It's just on a little hinge. It goes from about here to here. or like I said, from here, which is mostly for cheetah mode, and then all the way up to here. But yeah, he's a nice orange. Like, I'm very happy with him. And he's just a neat little CHEETOR figure. Here he is with Skybite, who is not really from Beast Wars. He was originally a repaint of Cybershark in Robots in Disguise. Although, did he show up on Beast Wars Neo? But anyway, there's the two Beast characters we've got so far. I've heard rumors that we may get an Optimus Primal in this line, which I would totally be down for, but we'll see. And like I said, the same basic battleship armor here that Bumblebee has. So you go ahead and just turn it upside down, plug it into his back, and then just pull this out and fold it on up. And as you come over his head, the arms fold down, just like on Bumblebee. At the time you see this, Bumblebee may not be live, but we have reviewed him. Snap this into place. Although if you snap it all the way in, it's a little bit more difficult to pop out, but it does lock in very securely. There's his head. Pull the anchor chain out. Again, the armor, aside from the blue, is the same as on Bumblebee. He does have what looks to be a completely remolded head. Like, I thought maybe it was slightly remolded from Bumblebee's, but this is an entirely different armor head. But the base itself, paint is a little different, but the same basic armor that Bumblebee had. And just to show you, here he is with Bumblebee, just to show the two armors together. You can swap them back and forth, although the yellows don't quite match because CHEETOR is much more orange than Bumblebee. Now, also with Bumblebee, somebody was asking, you can, if you want, because it looks like the armor in the cartoons does not actually end up being like four-armed armor, like it integrates with them more fully. So you can kind of fold Bumblebee's arms back at the hinge around to the back, so it looks like the battleship armor is his new arms, or like his arms are inside the armor, like it appears to be on the box art. But CHEETOR does not really have that ability. You can fold his arms back, but they're not as... His shoulders up here don't integrate as well onto these shelves of the armor like Bumblebee's headlights do. But, you know, it's entirely up to you. I don't know how often CHEETOR's going to actually wear this battleship armor, because I pretty much bought him for the base figure, and I've been having fun with him all day. So yeah, and then the armor itself has a little swivel there and a hinge there at the shoulder. And like I said, you can flip this anchor weapon forward. Once the arms have bent, you can kind of fold this back if you don't want it to be deployed. But it does sit in this little groove. So before you bend the elbow forward, you do want to at least lift it up enough so it's not in there anymore, or it'll... I don't know that it'll break it, but it'll give you some issues. You might bend it if you don't pull it out of there. Little guns on the side, some 5mm peg holes around here. You can attach some stuff to. This piece, again, just like on Bumblebee, comes loose for some reason, and I don't know why. Like, you can flip it over if you don't want it hanging down behind the robot. You can flip it up and over like that. But aside from that, I have no understanding of why this comes loose like that. Maybe just because they wanted to mold it a different color of plastic and didn't feel like gluing it in. It holds on securely, like it's not just going to fall off. You do have to pull it to get it off, but still mystified as to what the use of that is, because this doesn't fit into anything. It's too big to fit into any peg holes or to hold as a... You can't hold it as like a mace weapon or anything. I have no idea. But there is Elite Class Spark Armor CHEETOR. He is, at least in the United States, an exclusive to Target, I believe. That's where I found him this morning, was at Target on the shelf. And, yeah, but neat little figure. It's probably going to be, now that I have him and Skybite, it's probably going to be him and Skybite that I carry around with me the most. They're my favorites of the ones I have gotten. But all of the Elite Class figures have been pretty fun. It would have been nice if CHEETOR had a different armor that wasn't exactly the same as Bumblebee's, with the exception of the head. But oh well. The base figure itself is fun enough to make up for it. But there is Spark Armor CHEETOR.